and welcome to Add More Zest. My name's Rebecca and it is WIP and Waffle Sunday. Well, Sunday for you guys, it's actually midweek for me. I have uncovered quite a lot of this for this time. I don't know whether this is a bad thing or not, but my plan is to try and get completely up to date with all the comments and questions, etc. As you may know, if you watched last Sunday's WIP and Waffle, sorry, I'm just having a rearrange of a few diamonds. I have decided to start trying to fit in my filming through the week, which will then allow me to have weekends officially off. And last weekend worked out amazing, absolutely amazing. I'm just going to start doing some of this, by the way, while we're chatting. I do have a brew as well. I have the washer going because it's midweek. It's one of those kind of days. Yeah, so I've sort of decided that, yeah, midweek really works for me. If I have things to catch up on in the shop, etc., I feel like actually doing that at the weekend will make me feel, I suppose, more connected to the family, or more about for, you know, as and when conversation, people moving through the house, all that sort of stuff. So I'm gonna continue with my filming in the week. And yeah, it actually feels kind of weird not filming a Sunday WIP and Waffle the day before or on the day. However, my Thursday waffles are becoming more, you know, close to the day. So for example, I've just filmed my Thursday waffle on today, a Wednesday. So I've sort of just scooted my week over a little bit. But I'm also kind of hoping that, because I actually set quite a bit of time for filming through the week, that I will be able to fit in these longer WIP and Waffles without feeling like if I do them, I don't have, you know, that same amount of off time, should we say. So yeah, I'm hoping it will all work out. Oh, just throw that diamond down. So I'm starting with my ABs. I started peeling off sort of, you know, a good chunk, and then realised I was hitting some more orange again and decided to uncover her full face. I have no idea how far we'll get. This may spread over a couple of days, dependent on how long, you know, I waffle on for. As is per my usual waffling. Yeah, it may spread over a couple of days. But yeah, I've got myself, or I've got in my head a little sort of system that I think will work, though it didn't all go to plan this week. So Mondays are purely a shop day. There's always a lot more orders after the weekend. There's always things to stock. Things prep for Advent is very nearly, and I say very nearly finished for things that I need to put sort of a lot more time into. We're waiting on the last few bits are arriving, and the YouTube filming in the week may go a little bit awry when it comes to packing Advent, because that's the one thing that takes the most amount of time. But this year I'm planning on starting it a little bit earlier, the actual packing into the bags and boxes, in the hope that I can sort of spread it out and do a few a day, rather than having days and days, what felt like weeks and weeks, just packing advent boxes and nothing else. So yeah, it may go awry then, but for now, it seems to be working. I've got one more thing that I need to prep for Advent, which I'm prepping around, of course, stock and filling up stock, but I feel like I've got months to do it. So we're going to try and get my YouTube schedule in the week down, you know, to a fine art. But my initial plan, just for those that are interested in my random waffles about things like this, is say Monday is definitely a shop day. The orders take a huge chunk of my day, and I can always fill the rest of my day with shop prep of various different items, because I like to have them stocked that I can just pick and pack orders. So Monday is that. Tuesday, I thought is ideally sort of my first day to start fitting in YouTube, and I would, you know, go pack the orders, sort out anything that, you know, needed sorting out urgently in the shop, and then come into the house, film YouTube. It works quite well that way, so that's how I've sort of worked today, but it works quite well because by then Luna's ready for a nap and she's quite happily sleeping on the couch and absolutely loves that I film YouTube in the week, because she gets her couch to sleep on rather than her bed in the shop. But yeah, yesterday it just wasn't going to happen. There was actually quite an influx of orders yesterday, and quite a few. I've been running low on sort of stock cover paper. And spring, actually. Spring has been flying out the door, so I got quite low on a few, and yeah, I just decided that with the amount of orders that I had and the amount of things that need prepping for said orders, that I was just not going to try and fit YouTube in at all. I spent the full day in the shop. I got myself all sorted. I got all restocks of all the stock cover paper, spring cover paper, all the rest. I've got it all printed, all ready to prep, which means if it is ordered, you know, it's a lot simpler. It's a lot simpler. But yeah, it's all there ready to prep. And I now so this morning I've been in, I've packed orders, I've done a little bit of prep, and then I come in and film YouTube, and then film YouTube sort of afternoon while Luna sleeps, and then I nip back in and pack any orders that have come in while I've been filming. So through the afternoon, most orders come in evening-ish time, evening and early morning for me, or through the night for other countries. So when I do pack orders in the morning, that tends to be the bulk. And then a few may come in during the day. So I go in, pack those, get the post ready for the postman, and then depending on what sort of time it is, if I only have 20 minutes until the postman's due to collect, then sometimes I will, if I'm in the middle of a WIP and chat, I'll come and carry on a WIP and chat, but if not, I will do a bit of stock prep, which then will give me a bit more time the next day for YouTube. So I've sort of earmarked Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday for YouTube, on the basis that if Tuesday doesn't work, because it's been busy like this week, I can skip that day and not think I'm not going to get it all done. But if I do get to work on it on Tuesday, I might be finished by Wednesday, and then I spend an extra day in the shop. So the plan so far, well, last weekend it worked. I got last weekend off. I say off. We got a nice sort of spring refresh in the garden done. So me and hubby worked on that for a couple of hours. Jet washing, mowing the lawn, clearing up, you know, any sort of winter stuff, rearranging the furniture. We do have a nice seating set, but we sort of tidied a lot of it away and sort of tucked it on top of each other for winter and covered it up and that sort of stuff. So we got all that uncovered. I got to paint gem in the garden. If you saw my Facebook post, I did a paint gem in the garden, which was rather nice. And then I spent Sunday sort of pottering around the house. Oh, I also converted, we had a cupboard in the kitchen, and I figured out how to convert it and basically take the door off and turn it into a pull-out bin. So we did that on Sunday morning, went for roast dinner at my sister-in-law's, which was amazing. So yeah, just had a really, really nice weekend. And yeah, long may it continue. So yeah, I'll keep you updated on WIP and Waffles for a bit until it becomes sort of the norm on how things are going. But just note that especially when we do have a launch weekend, it won't be a WIP and Waffle on a Sunday straight after launch, which will take quite a bit of getting used to for me, because I do like a WIP and Waffle after launch, but it will free up launch weekends for me as well to be able to get some prep done and some time down done all at the same time, rather than having a day of YouTube and a day of prep and the whole weekend be gone dead quick. So yeah, that's my update in relation to that. It's also quite nice doing it in the week as well, because like I've tended to make my YouTube sort of days also days for like getting some washing done. Which today has involved some being on the line, which is amazing. Put my first load out on the line of the year on Saturday. But yeah, it allows me to sort of be around in the house on top of changing the washing machine over and things like that, and get a few loads done, while also getting to chat to you guys and diamond paint, which I love. And I can spread it out over a couple of days if I want, and not, you know, feel like I've got to wrap up the video because I need to get it edited and uploaded. I feel like I can take the time to have a WIP and Waffle be as long as a WIP and Waffle needs to be. So I do have quite a few comments still to catch up on the WIP and Waffle. I've just finished filming the Walking in the Rain WIP and Waffle, and I thought I got to the end of the comments, and then I refreshed the page and found one that I hadn't responded to. So I do apologise. That will now be next week, so maybe I won't have a clear comments box on YouTube this week, but maybe I'll have one next week. We shall see how many comments I get through and how many sections or how much of this painting I get through. I do also quite like on the WIP and Waffle uncovering this bigger section, because I find I then do WIP and Waffle, do sit and diamond paint one or two evenings in the week, even if it's just to finish this bit off, rather than getting sidetracked and ending up doing something else in an evening instead. Especially now it's getting lighter, I do find I like pottering around the house a bit more and a bit longer when the weather's nice. So I find I get less time to diamond paint in the sort of spring and summer. Oh, I missed one. So glad I found that before I missed it completely. That must be a first. Okay, I've got one more AB to do. It is the trickiest AB to sort of find the symbols. And a lot of them are over here, but I'm sort of trying to ignore that blue part I want to see that as being another section. All I'm trying to get is these sort of little random ones up the top. In fact, I might move that over because that part is not as much what I'm interested in. It's just catching these little orange ones. And then there will be more orange when I get to the fox. But I think that little bit will annoy me if I don't get it. So for this letter A, I actually only have a couple. I'm not seeing any in here. I'm seeing some over here, but I'm ignoring that. I'm working on not so much a straight edge section as a weird section. So I am just going to dip my pen in my pot to get those two, and then I can carry on now and sort of work on each bit, sort of ignoring that. We'll see how we go. I'm going to get some of this skin part, I think, first, but there's definitely a few that cross over. I do have a brew with me. I was going to have a brew before I sort of started this WIP and Waffle, but then I realised to get a good 3/4 of an hour or so in before I need to go and get the post ready, I needed to start now. So do excuse me while I slurp a little bit of my brew. Just been and put my washer on the spin as well. Gotta get on top of this washing. If you know, you know. It is a constant battle. Right, I'm actually going to move my computer over to this other side so I can actually see your guys' comments. It's the only thing when I'm sort of working right on the edge of a painting. When it's in the middle, I can often have my laptop on one side and my diamonds on the other. Grey Legrand, she says, hitting pause. Love it. She says, in regards to Trina in Texas and celestial images, she says she cannot speak specifically about those image types. She says, but in regards to staying in budget, she said Amazon does have a ton to offer. She says she tries to only order images that also show the canvas so that she can see if the detailing is enough. And Diamond Art Club, she said, does have an Amazon store as well, she says, for affordable high quality kits. So yeah, they do have a store in the US. I never actually thought of that one because it's not something that we have access to in the UK. But yeah, Amazon's a good shout. To be honest, I haven't looked at Amazon for ages. I got one from Amazon when I first started diamond painting, because I was determined I wanted to give it a go, and of course I wanted to give it a go straight away. And there was no shop I could go out and get one from back when I started diamond painting, so Amazon was the best way. I could only find a partial. That was all they really had on Amazon right back in the beginning. It's changed now. Full drill has become more popular, but partial was the only sort of diamond paintings you could get hold of back way when I started. So yeah, good shout on checking out Amazon. Thank you for that. Denia Nightshade, she says, as for Texas having better weather, she says she grew up there, and she promises me that 110 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 43 degrees Celsius, oh my goodness me, that's hot, she said, is not better than the UK. She says she promises. I think we should all just move around the globe according to the weather that we like. She says, and the whole, she always used to say that someone's going to have to sponge what's left of me up off the ground. I'm not surprised. When you convert the temperature to something that makes sense to me. 43 degrees is just ridiculous. That is just, yeah, that is scrape off the ground weather, as you say. That is cooking. She says, as for the whole multi-kit up thing, she says her ADHD/minor OCD won't let her kit up more than one diamond painting. She says, but it will let her have multiple projects going on. So she has a 50 by 70 diamond painting, a 40 by 50 paint by numbers. She's just now learning acrylic paint, and she has a colouring in page in progress. She said, so you've corrupted me with a done and dusted, which she loves and she uses all the time. It's a very good saying. It's a very good saying. In fact, I did throw out another UK saying on the Facebook group the other day. Somebody had posted how their order arrived to the US like within a week of ordering from launch, which is amazing. And I did turn around and say somebody must have had their Weetabix, which I knew would probably throw up questions in relation to it. But Weetabix is a UK cereal. It's like a high fibre oaty thing, and yeah, they always used to say, you know, you have your Weetabix and you can get stuff done. Like, that was the adverts. You know, it gives you energy, it gives you the boost, it gives you what you need first thing in the morning. So there has become a phrase in the UK, you know, if somebody achieves a lot or achieves something outside of the normal scope, it's, oh, you must have had your Weetabix this morning. So yeah, that's the phrase I used in relation to both Royal Mail and USPS. Don't know which one is normally the slower one, but yeah, they had their Weetabix and got that parcel to her extremely quickly to get it there within a week. In fact, there was a few that turned up quite quickly and there's a few that are further behind, so maybe it depends what sort of hub they went through. But yeah, it's good to know that people are getting their orders quick, because that's always the thing I don't like, is how long some people have to wait to be able to get their orders. And I appreciate their patience, and I'm patient with things that are coming to me from abroad, you know, and I'm always like, oh yeah, be a few weeks. And I'm actually quite relaxed over it for things coming for me, not so much for things coming for somebody else. I'm actually waiting on yet another Paint Gem mini kit. If you've seen, they've released another one. I kind of wish they'd release them in twos, because if you wait to order one, you tend to find it's sold out before you get to, you know, before a second one is released. But I can get why they are, you know, it may be their company decision to sort of, you know, be kind to their warehouse and release them in bits and keep new ones coming what feels like more often. But yeah, for saving on postage, it's not as good. But yeah, I won't think about that now until maybe one day I'll go checking it and see that it's really close, or I'll get a message from Royal Mail saying it's nearly with me. And then I get excited. I'm more likely to stalk it once it's in the UK than I am on its way to the UK. But yeah. Right, sorry, just having another drink of my brew, trying not to make too much noise while I do. But gotta keep that caffeine flowing. Liv's Dotting Den, she said, hello Rebecca. She said she went for a lovely meal this evening to celebrate 1 year getting the keys to her house. Amazing thing to make an anniversary of. I like it. Any excuse for a celebration. But yeah, congratulations on having your house for a year. I hope it is feeling well and truly like a home. She also says, she's just had a thought. When I was de-kitting, she says, hug in a mug. Instead of removing rows of diamonds when you complete the canvas, she says, would it be easier to remove the border first before placing the diamonds? Yes and no. I actually have before now cut a border off a diamond painting before doing it, because I knew it was going to fit into sort of a specific frame. And I actually really didn't like placing the diamonds that close to the edge of the canvas as I did it. I know some people do, and they're more than happy with it, so it may well be something that works for some people. And by all means, if it works for you, then do it. Or if you think it will work for you, then try it out. But for me personally, I just didn't like it. I didn't like that row that I was doing that close to the edge. So even though I know that I knew when I was doing Hug in a Mug that because it's an exactly 30 by 40, I knew I'd have to cut off a row or two. But I just enjoyed the process of doing the diamond painting itself. And then I could pick, then looking at the full image, you know, a clear vision of what the image looked like, because of course it was finished. I could then choose which side I preferred to cut that one row of diamonds off from. But yeah, there are some people as well that actually mark up their canvas first. So if they know it's going in a frame, rather than cutting it off, they will just mark on it the section that they don't need to put diamonds down on, and sort of leave it sticky. I'm just not that forward planning. I actually quite like doing the whole thing and seeing what it looks like before then trimming it down. Though it is only a row or two. If I was taking an image that maybe was quite concentrated in the middle, and it was going to be quite a few rows that I wasn't doing to fit in, you know, potentially a frame that I wanted it to sit in, then I probably would mark the canvas up and decide which part I didn't need to touch at all. And I think that would work better if it was more than one row. But for one row, one or two rows, it just wasn't worth it. And I didn't know whether it'd be one or two until I sort of completed it, because I didn't check it beforehand. But if it was like, you know, a good few chunks of rows of diamonds, then I probably would measure it out first or check it out first, rather than, I'd feel like I was wasting my time more then than I would at the moment. It's my washer finishing after a spin. But that washer load's going on the Maiden, so I will do that in a bit. I've got a diamond, there we go. I had a diamond that was stuck. It was just stuck down the side of my tray, testing my patience. Right, what do I want next? Let's go for, am I going up or am I going across? I think I'm going up. I do like to have my nice edge of diamonds when I start. Tiffany says she's also working on Cosmic Trip, and she has 40 cover paper sections left to do. That is a nice chunk to still complete. Bobby says, in reference to the hanky comment, she said after grandkids were born, her dad always carried at least one extra hanky for the little ones and then one for himself. I don't blame him, because to be fair, for, you know, as of you as an adult, I can see, you know, why the kids didn't like, you know, Grandad's hanky being pulled out and used on them. But I can imagine with kids' snotty noses that Grandad's not going to particularly like to use a hanky that the grandkids have used either. I can imagine that wouldn't be nice. Marie Jo Marcella, she says, hi Rebecca. Oh, hang on. I forgot where I was going with my letter K then. She says her name is Mary Jo. She's been watching me for a long time. She said it seems like forever. She says you have helped me through so many things, so many times in my life. She says when she needed to hear a comforting voice to keep her calm. Oh, bless. This is the sort of reason that I love these WIP and waffles so much. I love the fact that I can be keeping people company, especially, you know, when I'm chatting to you in the house. Even more so now that I'm filming in the week, when I'm chatting to you when I'm in the house on my own. Everybody else is out at work. Luna's stretched out on the couch, asleep, though if I dare to move anywhere she follows. But yeah, she is just completely stretched out across the whole length of the couch. And yeah, it's nice to know that I'm talking to you guys and keeping some of you guys company too. She says she's learnt so much from me over the years. She says she started diamond painting shortly after her husband passed away. And became totally addicted. She says she's trying to get her grandkids to do it, and they seemed to enjoy it. She says she started, she says about 5 years ago, it was that she started diamond painting after her husband passed away. So I am so sorry for your loss. I can imagine that is a very, very hard time. And I am grateful that you found diamond painting, because it can be healing. Even, you know, sometimes it's used to switch off. Sometimes it's used to just think and process through your thoughts. And it, you know, sometimes it's just used to keep you busy. She says, add to her joy, she says she found the community. She says that helps me so much. She says, thank you for everything that you do. Well, thank you so much for being here, Mary Jo. I can't imagine what you've been through over the past few years, but I'm so happy that we can help you in, even if it's, you know, a small way. I'm so happy that we can help you, and that, you know, you can have company while you diamond paint, and dot some days away, because it is so much fun. And I know when I do have, like, I know I've had a busy week this last week and not got to diamond paint much. I have managed to squeeze in, you know, a few paint gem minis. I've only got a couple left as I'm filming this, so, or a couple left that are currently kitted up. But I know if I have a couple of days where I don't get to diamond paint at all and don't even get to squeeze a paint gem mini in or two, that I really start to feel it. Like, hubby will go, what do you want to do tonight? And I'll just be like, diamond paint. I want to do nothing but diamond paint. I haven't diamond painted for X number of days. I need to diamond paint. And I feel like, yeah, it's just something that I need. I need in my life. Kim, she says, Dad's hanky torture, she said, started when she was very young. She says, so no. She says she was too dumb to ask to think about bringing any tissues. Too young for purses, she says, and now that she thinks about it, she says, why didn't her stepmom save her from Dad's hanky by giving me some tissues? She says, cruel and unusual punishment by both of them. She says she might be scarred for life, with a laughy face. She says her grandmother always carried a hanky. She says she kept one of her pretty hankies after she died. She says another generational thing. She says, does anyone in our group carry cloth hankies? I will say I don't. I know my dad does, or he always used to. I'm pretty sure he still does. But that's the only person that I know of. My nan used to. When she was alive, she always used to have a hanky. My mum carries tissue, but not so much a washable cloth hanky. But no, I can't think of anybody else that I know that carries a hanky. Trudy says her nan's hanky was her apron. She says not for her, but for all the grandkids. She says we got our faces wiped and our noses too, she says, on that apron. She says still great memories. Gotta love it. Gotta use it if it's there. Use it. I'm just going to get that letter K over there before I miss it, because my light's shining a little bit different over that section. I'm trying to make sure that I get those little random ones when I spot them rather than later. Kaz, she says, hi Rebecca. She says she hopes I'm having a good Sunday. She says she has finally finished Huey, which she posted to the Facebook group, she says, alongside her new project, which is Mutiny from Dreamer Designs. Awesome. I love finishing a painting. I love starting a painting. I enjoy the doing of the painting. I think I just do love finishing up a painting and starting a new one just a little bit more. But that doesn't make me want to do loads of small ones. And that's what's weird, because even though I love that, I still get a really good sense of achievement when I finish a really big one as well. This one I did expect to have been done by now, but life's sort of got in the way, and the lighter evenings have got in the way a little bit more than I expected with this one. But yeah, I'm sure I'll have some fast forward days on this painting at some point. Right, letter Y. Y. There it is. There's Y. Dana, she says hello. She says she hopes I am doing fine. I am doing fine. Thank you, Dana. She said, have you ever thought to 3D print your logo? She said she saw somebody do that. No, I haven't actually, considering we do use our logo on quite a few different things. And we have a few different designs for it and a few different exclusive things with our logo. I've never actually thought to 3D print. I think it's because I'm not sure what I would do with it if it was 3D printed. Maybe that's why I've not sort of gone down that route. Plus, the printers are always busy. Poor printers. They do always seem to be busy with something, and I always have something in mind and lined up next for said poor little printers. Mysterious Days. She says, hey Rebecca. She says she knows that I have commented on the Facebook group, on her post in the Facebook group, but given she has been updating on here, on the WIP and Waffles, she also wanted to give an update on YouTube. She says she passed her social studies test, which is a big yay. She got 171 out of 200, which is an 83%. or a B in American grading. Awesome. She says this only leaves reading, science and math. She says probably in that order. She took a day to celebrate and now she is back to studying. She said she also feels like it won't be as anxiety inducing because she knows more than the first time. Like, even if it's things like she knows where the room is, what it's like, things like that. She says what she did find odd though is they only allowed her to wear one bracelet and a hair tie in. She says for context, she says she normally stacks multiple different types of bracelets with her outfits. She says, oh well, she says she just put most of her bracelets in her locker with her purse and kept the Stronger With You bracelet that matches her mum's and her scrunchie. It's probably just one of those things. See, my brain, when you said they only let you have one bracelet, it's probably more along the lines of if you had multiple, you could hide things underneath it. Cheating implement tools underneath it. And that's probably why they bring in rules like that. Not that you were doing, but that'll be why it is. Somebody will have managed to sneak some sort of way to cheat in something that looks as though, you know, it's harmless. And they always have to think and plan for the worst of people, which can then affect the best of people. But, you know, we're also often a lot more understanding. Oh, there is an AB I missed, another one. That's annoying. So yeah, that will probably be the reason why they only allow you to have one, is because you can't hide something with a load of text behind one bracelet that you could behind a bundle. Right, let me just get that letter P, because it does annoy me when I miss one, and I am doing it with my glue dot, which it does like to pull off the AB coating, or it can like to pull off the AB coating more with a glue dot, but I can tend to get away with it for one. I just don't like to do it for a lot. She also says her trays are scheduled to arrive today. She says she is so excited. It has been a little over a week since she ordered them and she can't wait to get them in her daily rotation. She says she wonders what size she will prefer as she got the limited olive bundle. I flip between them. I really do. To be honest, I do primarily like the bigger one. The AMZ tray is my go-to size of tray. But then for the likes of Paint Gem Minis, I do like the Zesty because it stops me from tipping out quite as many diamonds as I often tip out in the big ones. I often find, you know, that I tip out according to the size of the tray, which is why I just tend to use the mega tray when I'm doing something with really a big amount of colour, because I know I will just throw a load of diamonds in there. She says in other news, she says yesterday was very stressful. She said something major, she says, and rather stupid, happened with her brother who lives in the house. She says, which is only added to the stress that is put on the household within the last 10 months. She says he just needs to move out for everyone's own sanity because he's affecting the everyday feeling of the house and her mum's health. Well, do make sure that he is getting the help he needs as well. Maybe he's going through something that you don't know. Maybe he's not. Maybe he's just being a pain, as you said. But yeah, I do hope things get better for you. She also says, does the UK not have post-it notes? Yeah, the UK has post-it notes. It's something that I've never used a lot personally. I do have some. There are some in the shop. And they are occasionally used. We did actually use them when we were packing the Advent last year. We used post-it notes just to lay out the order that things were going into the box, to keep things as safe as possible on their journey. But yeah, I just don't use them very often. Maybe it's just because I don't have a use for them that often. But yeah, we do have them. We definitely do have them. Though I did get those beautiful handmade ones, which are very, very, very handy. And they're probably the only post-it notes I use at the moment. Megan loves a good post-it note. I don't know whether it's just part of being a teacher, but she loves a post-it note. And I know the kids do use them, like when they're at uni and things like that. They use them quite often, especially if you want to make a note, you know, maybe a book that you've got out of the library or something and you want to make a note on and put it on a certain page. Post-it notes can be great for things like that. I just don't have the need for things like that as much. So I'll leave it to the kids to use them all up. Liv's Dotting Den, she says, thank you for the great explanation. She says she might get her dad to take her one night as the delivery is a bit steep. I was going to say I couldn't think what the explanation was for then, but I've just remembered it's IKEA. Love going IKEA. In fact, I went the other evening to get the bits to change my one of the doors in my kitchen to a pull-out drawer so I could put a bin in it. And I'm loving it. Everybody else in the house still keeps forgetting that I've moved the bin. So there's been a lot of going to where the bin used to be. And then having to go, it's moved, and going to where the bin is now. But I've adapted to it already. Everybody else is still playing catch up. But Blossom Chops, she says she's so loving my IKEA chatter. She said it's really making her giggle. I love a bit of IKEA. I did go the other day. I got to make use of 3 different shortcuts while I was there. Because I did want to go to the kitchen department to check something out, and in hours you can cut through right at the beginning, miss out front room and dining, get straight through to the kitchen part, and then sneaked past another section to miss out a load of bookcases and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, we're getting quite good at finding the shortcuts that we need in IKEA. And then once we get to the bottom of the escalator, there's also another shortcut that gets you straight through to the warehouse. So we are in love with all of our shortcuts. I have been in and out of IKEA in 10 minutes before. And that was needing to go upstairs and get something. That wasn't just the warehouse. So I needed to go upstairs to get, I think it was probably just some storage. So I did the shortcut by going through and going up the back, because it's sort of the last section upstairs. So putting through, going up the stairs, getting what I needed, then using the shortcut to take me straight to the tills. And paid and out. But I do also go in the evening. So we actually went, it was Saturday night we went. And IKEA on a Saturday, as you can imagine, is absolutely crazy. But it is open till 10 p.m. And on a Saturday at 8:30 at night is actually all right. And we were able to get in and get our stuff sorted and get out. So, Streaks Me, she says, hi Rebecca. She says she hopes that I'm having a great week so far. I am, thank you. I'm feeling rather organised this week. Oh, I also got to clean my house this weekend as well, which I normally sort of have to do in different bits throughout the week. But I found having the weekend off to clean on a Sunday was fantastic, because then I started the Monday off with a clean house. So much nicer. So much nicer. But anyway, yes, I've had a great week. She says she has 2 questions. She says, on the edge of the painting, there is usually a black line for the border. She says, do you place drills on that line or just up to it? Primarily just up to it. I'm not sure if you can see on here. Most of them are really touching it. A few of them are just a little bit over, just a little bit on that line. But yeah, I normally go just up to it, and after doing sort of my first corner section, I get to then judge and find out whether, you know, due to the fit of the diamonds, it needs to be on that line a little bit more rather than touching it. But I start off with touching it, and then quite often as I'm filling in the symbols around it, it will actually nudge them up just a little bit, so they tend to be a little bit over. And sometimes they will just stay within that line. Right, what colour is next? This one. I'm trying to think time-wise as well now. What I actually have time for before I do need to get the post ready. Do you know what? I'm going to stick with the orange and do this square one as my sort of last colour before I go and get the postage ready. And I may be back for more of this whip and chat today. It may be tomorrow. But let's finish Streaks Me other question, which is, after a painting is completed, she said, and you want to use a straightener, she says, do you go in a vertical direction or a horizontal direction? She says, maybe going both directions is better. She says, and a tip on this would be great. She said, sorry if she hasn't found a video yet that maybe I've done describing it. Or describing how I do it. She says, this painting is pretty and she loves it. She says, thank you for all that you do for us. To be honest, I don't tend to use a straightener at the end of a painting at any time. I've never particularly used a straightener, whether it be like a full flat straightener or a small one on the end of my pen. I tend to use them, if I do use them, which is not always, I tend to use them as I'm going along with a painting. So maybe after I've finished a section, and whether it's horizontal or vertical really depends on which way I need to nudge the diamonds. I probably use it both. You know, and I may use it to nudge a set of diamonds one way or nudge it another, but it's not something that I religiously do. Once you take a step back from a painting, then it is nowhere, I don't find that it, you know, that you notice the minute little details of diamonds being slightly over one way or slightly over another way. I actually can't remember the last time did I use a straightener? I'm trying to remember if there is a painting recently that I've used a straightener. There possibly is. Maybe one of the ones that I did, that I used a multi-placer on when I've sort of been practicing my multi-placing. But I would tend to use it on the end of my pen or grab my little plastic straightener, and I would tend to use that as I was doing the sections rather than at the end of it, which is probably why there's not a tip and trick on it, because it does greatly vary as to whether it's sort of needed. Right, I'm going to pop that one that I've just spotted I missed, and then I am going to go and get post ready, but you guys will see me again in a mo. Hello all. It's the next day for me, and I thought I would continue on with the WIP and Waffle. I've just been having a look at sort of what I'm going to do next symbol wise. And I think because I don't know how long this WIP and Waffles are going to be, I'm going to sort of concentrate more down here and filling in some of this face before I go into this blue, because then potentially I can tie that blue up with this other blue. So yeah, we'll get quite a bit of the face done. There will probably be little bits that are sort of need filling in as I go along. But yeah, I'm going to do the T and the slash symbol first, I think, and then maybe fill in the rest of the orange and things like that. Doing it a little bit different to the way I normally do it, but as I say, I don't normally peel off this amount. And then hopefully this evening I will be able to have a couple of hours to sort of sit down and at least finish this section off, and we'll see if I get any more done through the week. We actually nipped out last night for some planter things for the garden, which we were successful. Woohoo! And got those. And then I actually finished my paint gems last night. So I'm a little bit undecided now because I haven't filmed the videos or all the videos for next week. So I'm actually wondering whether to de-kit my paint gems for next week and then kit up the week after, because they're going to be quite a bit longer videos, I think, especially the kitting up and the de-kitting. I'm not quite sure on de-kitting 3, but I reckon it might be a bit of a longer video than normal. So I think I might do the de-kitting for next week and then the kitting up for the week after, and try and sort of spread out those longer videos a little bit, both for you and for me. It can then work both ways. Just doing a quick scan for any missed letter T over that side before I go into a full face. Every now and then I like to have another scan over. I'll probably end up doing it again, no doubt. Do another quick scan over, check whether I've missed any, and hopefully have not missed any, but we shall see. Right, Marsha, she says she doesn't have enough, currently she doesn't have enough diamond paintings in her stash to warrant using a decision wheel, but she does have it downloaded and ready for the future as her stash grows. That sounds like somebody who's going to grow their stash just so they can use a decision wheel, because it sounds like fun, and I kind of like that idea. She says she loves my WIP and Waffles, thank you. She says she really enjoys my accent, which is probably a bit of anything and everything, UK wise anyway. She says she's currently working on a 30 by 30 Chinese pug. That is so cute. That sounds adorable. She says it's a gift for her brother because it looks like his very old Max. He's 16, which is extremely old for that type of dog. She says she needs to finish it this week so she can take it to him next week as they travel to their grandson's wedding. Oh, I hope you have or had an amazing time, and that it was a lovely wedding. Weddings can be very nice get-togethers, albeit stressful for some. Magic Moonchild, she says, idea. She says, whip and waffle with a Lego set, even if it's just one video, and then it can be a business expense. I like your idea. I do like your idea. Whether I could get away with the whole thing being a business expense, I'm not sure, but I like your thinking. Kaz, she says, good afternoon, Rebecca. She said, hope all is well with me and the family. Thank you. She says she's loving the progress. She says currently she has her American cousin staying with her mum, who she hasn't seen since 2013. So they're having a grand old time. Awesome. That sounds like so much fun. Especially when you haven't seen each other for 10 years. I bet there is a lot of catching up to do. A lot of catching up, a lot of conversations, a lot of nice times, which is always a good day. A good way to spend your day. Cat Lady, she says, we just appreciate the videos you put up. She said she thought the Monday video was missing as it was shop weekend. She said 2 hours today. She said she will watch half and then the rest after tea. She says for a round painting, she says this painting is amazing for the shading and the details are so clear. Yes, I will say Oraloa do absolutely amazing at the sort of rendering and stuff like that. I was very happy with the last one that I actually completed. Very happy with this one. And I also love the ones that I have unboxed and are in my stash. You know, from what you can tell from sort of the beginning stages of working on a painting, I've been very, very happy with the look of the paintings that I have. So that's always good. She said today she has washed 3 loads. She has dried some on the line and some in the dryer, which was mainly undies. She said she's fortunate to have a utility room and the craft/family room and utility were an extension added on by the previous owner. Yeah, I definitely think a lot of UK houses that have had extensions, things like utility rooms, definitely seem to be top of most people's lists. If we'd ever had, like, you know, a full-on extension rather than just adding a conservatory, then a utility room of some sort probably would have been one of the things that we would have incorporated. But it worked out better for us to add the conservatory, or at least a lot cheaper and a lot quicker. And to be fair, I love the light in the conservatory. I really, really like having that much light coming through from the roof. I know a lot of people end up covering the roof, but I adore it. I absolutely adore it. Oh, sorry, pen just went in the mouth while I took my cardigan off because it's getting warmer. It's not as warm today as it was yesterday. We have started the day with rain, so I have no washing on the line. But I did, so yesterday I did a couple of loads on the line, as you may have heard me discuss in the WIP and Waffle. I got 2 loads out on the line. It all dried, which was fantastic. I did also fill my maidens again because I do have 2 with a household this big. And last night I actually found the bottom of the washing baskets in our house, of which we have 3. I found the bottom of all of them. I have then since put stuff in the washing basket, but I am, you know, primarily on top of the washing. So hopefully the weather is on the way to having more nice days than nasty ones, because if that's the case, then there is the possibility that I can put the maidens away. And that is another one of my favourite times of year. When the maidens can go away and I can just dry washing outside. And when I do washing, it gets done, finished and away all in a day. That's my kind of working for washing. It's what I love. I've just spotted another one from yesterday that I missed. I had one of those late on yesterday that I did tuck in, but anyway, right, let me move on to another one that is a lot of colour, and then I think I'm going to try and fill in some of this orange and get the orange done across the way. But I'm going to go for this one that we have a lot of first. Janita, she says, oh, she's left a comment on the WIP and Waffle of my fox. She says the fox is looking great. She says she's doing a massive painting at the moment. It's called Abram Falls. It's going to take forever. She said as it is 37.8 by 27.6. I'm guessing that's inches. I'm going to go on the basis that that's inches because that's definitely a lot bigger than centimetres. Darcy says, oh, she thinks she's lost her painting mojo for now. Oh no. Ooh, sorry, my son has just come home. Right, son just came home, so Luna had to say hello very loud. But anyway, okay, where were we? Darcy. She says she thinks she's lost her diamond painting mojo for now. She said she guesses it was one too many square paintings. Unfortunately, that is the only ones that she has at the moment, and she's got no money to purchase any new ones. Oh, I am sorry to hear that, Darcy. It's hard when you lose sort of your mojo but don't want to. Especially when it's something that you want to do, but as soon as you then think of the ones that you have, you're like, no. Which I get. You know, there are times when I want to go diamond paint and I'll think about, you know, the options that I have to diamond paint, and I am blessed that I've got options in like this whip and waffle to do. I could pull out Walking in the Rain, and I also have, well, normally have Paint Gem Minis when I've not done them all. So yeah, so I do completely get, you know, the losing the mojo. All I can suggest as an alternative is, you know, while you're waiting to have the money to be able to get yourself something that excites you a bit more, is maybe to go through your diamond painting goodies stash, your area, whatever it is you have, and sort of tidy it up, pretty it up, you know, make it a happy place, whether that be, you know, a diamond painting tote bag that you have, or whether it be a complete space, whatever it may be. I know I always feel more inspired, I suppose, to diamond paint more when my space feels a bit clearer, a bit straighter, you know, and it feels like everything's not as much of, I suppose, a chore. There's a couple of things that I've sort of straightened up and sorted out in my craft room recently. I haven't finished sort of finessing things, but I have definitely done a few things to sort of sort it out, and I may try and do a few more things as time goes on. It's sort of a bit of a slow project. I move on something that I know I want to do, and then give myself time to sort of reassess if there's anything else that I want to do. So it can help even just thinking to yourself, okay, what is it when I do diamond paint that isn't quite right, or is awkward, or isn't really working? Okay, how can I change that? And find sort of a solution for the key things. Even, I must say, even just having this pen holder from Fansels with currently, it's not got all, but it's got a few sort of pens to grab, mainly tweezers, AB pens, things like that, makes it so much easier for me when I do decide, say I want to do a paint gem in the front room. I can grab a painting, grab the drawer with the diamonds in and grab a suitable pen tray. Tweezers, I often take tweezers with me when I'm doing a paint gem, especially because they are resin diamonds. If I find there's a bubble in one of the diamonds that I've placed down, you bet your life it will be a diamond that I've placed down in the middle of another row of diamonds. So I always need tweezers to take that out. And then of course some of my paint gem I add AB diamonds to. So I need an AB pen for those, and it's so much easier to just be able to grab in effect the implements that I need for whatever paint gem mini I've decided to do, and then just take them with me. So small things like that you can work on in your space, whether you've got kits to dekit, whether you just want to go through your stash again, you know, and see what you've got. It really helped when I actually pulled all my stash out for doing my stash video, because I got to sort of look and assess everything that I had, and sort of revamp that a little bit. And you know, I picked up all the 310s out my drawer and had a little bit of a reshuffle of things in my drawer. So maybe something like that will, you know, help. Maybe it will spur you on to do some more square diamond paintings, but maybe it'll just, you know, make things nicer when you do get round to doing that round diamond painting. Whenever you get round to purchasing one, just fettling and messing about with the stuff that you have. So see if that helps. Anne, she says she loves hearing Luna, which is good. That was just a quiet bark. I'm not sure what the quiet bark was at. Oh, I have just heard the rain starting, so maybe she thought she'd heard something else. She did some quiet barks this morning at a door, a car door being closed. I don't know whether she thought they were coming here or not, but yeah. She says she misses her dogs. She says cats are normally too quiet, although they do have a kitten who delights in meowing at us. Bless. Yeah, Luna had a really good day while I was filming yesterday. She was properly spread out on the couch, completely zonked, absolutely loving life. Whereas the first part of filming today, she was tucked down under my drafting table in my craft room, lying down. And she is actually lying down on the couch again now. But since my son's come home, she's been a little bit more aware of hearing him move about. And while she's said hello, I think she wants him to come and sit with her for a longer time. She loves sitting and having long cuddles. Christina, she says, it seems a bit odd that it is so common for you Brits to put washing out on the line and not just on a clothes horse in general. She says, especially in a country that is so associated with dreary weather. That is so true. That is so true. Americans who, not all, but some states in America, of course, have a lot nicer weather than we do, and just it's normal to just put clothes in the dryer and just switch from one to the other. But it's actually amazing how many items of clothing in the UK can't be tumble dried. So even times I have thought or have actually used the tumble dryer, the amount of checks I have to do on the clothes as to whether they can even go in the tumble dryer or not, half the time it's just not worth it. It's just not worth the messing about, in my opinion. She says also, if your washing machine is in the kitchen, she says, how tightly packed are the fridge, oven, stove and the dishwasher? I do actually have, I think, a kitchen tour on my channel, so you can see what my kitchen's like, because I did discuss the sort of remodel we did of our kitchen. So I did do a little tour of it, so you can see how close things are or aren't. But as you come into our kitchen, there's sort of a big sort of pantry cupboard on the right hand side. It's sort of built in, a big built-in cupboard, not like a wooden cupboard. It's actually got brick walls. It holds our boiler and our gas meter, and then it has shelving in it, and that is primarily used for any sort of tool bits. We've got a bin in there, we've got the recycling bin in there, we've got the mop bucket in there, sort of all sorts of cleaning stuff. But then the other side of that wall, we have a tall fridge freezer. We then have a little cupboard that sort of goes down the side of the fridge freezer. It has a door near it to open, and then everything tucks down. Then we have our washing machine. Then we have our sink with under storage drawers. Actually have quite a bit of space under our sink now. Then we fitted the dishwasher, which we never used to have until we did our kitchen remodel. Then we have another cupboard that I've just converted into a pull-out bin. Then it hits the back door, so that's sort of one L-shaped worktop. And then we have another sort of bigger, or maybe it's more, it's not so much an L, it's more of a right angle worktop, and that's where we have our sort of oven and stove top with cupboards above, and a big tall cupboard for all the food to go in, and things like that. So it's actually not too bad, I wouldn't say. It definitely fits in everything that we need. We've not got a tiny kitchen. A lot of houses in our area, because a lot of the houses are sort of built the same, but people have done different things to them. So quite a few people have actually knocked a wall through, which would mean that I would lose this craft room, which I don't want to do, which is why we haven't done it. But a lot of people have sort of knocked through and then had kitchen cabinets on both sides and made it more of a galley style kitchen. But that's not really my cup of tea. Luna, it's okay. Okay, that one was either a bird or a leaf on the conservatory roof. Anyway, it's gonna be one of those days. So anyway, yeah, I don't feel that the kitchen's too small. We did, you know, work quite hard with the design to make sure that it didn't feel like a galley style kitchen. Just there's so many people in this house, and there is people moving from, you know, kitchen to conservatory, and there's often a few of us in the kitchen at once, that I just didn't want that fight. That's for sure. She also says, she said something that she's wondered for a while. She said, are the pickup pens for the ABs different than normal crayon for colouring? She said it looks like they're softer from what she's seen on my videos. Yeah, they are softer. The pickup pens are definitely a softer, they're more of a wax, a bit more like a candle wax than a crayon, though somebody did comment to say that they used a crayon and it worked quite well. So if you can get your hands on one, maybe try that. I don't actually have any in the house, because that is something that I would kind of like to try, and maybe I need to see if I can pick some up. Blossom Chops says she is using the Zesty Lemon Putty from the 2023 Advent, and she said she just uses her tweezers to remove it. She rolls it between her fingers into a new sausage shape and puts it back in the metal pen tip. Right, turns out the banging, or what Luna's barking at, is next door doing some work in their garden. So there is the odd banging from them. So I decided to take 20 minutes or so and do some admin bits and see if she sort of calmed down to the noise, settled down. So she seems to. She seems to be curled up and asleep now. We'll see how long that will last, but she definitely sort of got used to the noise and decided that ignoring it was a good thing. So we'll see how we go. Trudy, she says she has received her order from us, her main part being the folders for the Paint Gem minis, which are an awesome way to store your Paint Gem minis. At least I love it. She says they're great. She says she received the actual kits from Paint Gem yesterday morning, which was last Saturday. She said just a few minutes before she left to go on holiday, and she said yes, they have come with her. Perfect timing on Paint Gem's behalf, that's for sure. I love it when things turn up exactly when you want, rather than turning up the day after you'd left or something like that. So I hope you have an amazing holiday / have had an amazing holiday, depending on how long it is. But yeah, and that you got to do a few Paint Gem minis and made it, you know, worthwhile bringing them along. Dragon Skies says they're watching a bit late due to the football. They had to do a double take at the length of the waffle. Said they are all for it. They're hunkered in with a cuppa and their current WIP. They said, let's go, Rebecca. Yeah, I'm trying to fit in a couple of a bit longer WIP and waffles, get, you know, a bit more up to date with the comments, especially because we have updates, you know, on what's happening with some of the zesties and things that are currently going on. I do like to be sort of as up to date as I can be. I don't mind a little bit of a buffer, especially if I'm sort of filming at different times. It can help me still be able to get in a WIP and chat with comments. But yeah, at the minute, because I've sort of changed when I film each video, so my Sunday videos filmed a lot sooner now, but my Thursday videos a little bit more closer to the time. Yeah, it's nice to try and be, I say, a bit more current with the comments. So I thought a couple more longer WIP and waffles. Squoze in there, though I'm struggling a bit more to fit in all my videos this week. They will still all be able to go up, but I just don't have as much of a buffer between some that may be as big a buffer as I would like. But that's okay. Just means I have to keep taking my memory card out of my camera to make sure that I upload the video that's needed. Henny's says, hi Rebecca, said they love the longer WIP and waffles. Have a great week, Zesties. Awesome. Hopefully, I say this one, I'm not sure how long this one will end up, especially because it's been over a couple of days and I've had to pause, especially today. I've had to pause a few times due to excessive barking from our little Luna that yeah, I'm a little bit more out of sync as to how long I've actually been filming this WIP and Waffle. But I am more than up for, I say, getting a longer one in. And yeah, you guys can watch it over a few days if that's what suits. Yeah, whatever works for you all is what works for me. Denaya Nightshade says, with a comment, they said they don't mind so much the rain. They said, but the fronts that come with them. Oi. They said, my aunt and I both have back issues, so rain fronts can put us on the floor. Ooh. Said, nothing like watching 2 over 50 women whining like toddlers. You've got company. I suppose that's the only good sign, but not a good sign, because I'm sure you'd rather one of you had respite from it all. But yeah, not nice. Let's stick with no big weather fronts coming your way would be much better. She also says, she has weather comment was the first paragraph. Second one is laundry comment. Love this. So she says, scent and feel wise, she does so love line drying clothes. However, the only physical capable person that can hang the laundry out is a daughter, who's already playing caretaker to 3 wheelchair bound grumpy old ladies. She put grumpy. She said, so she doesn't feel right asking for that one more weight on her. She said maybe one day someone will figure out how to make a dryer give results closer to hanging clothes out to dry. She said that would be the dream. That would. And space for said dryer that doesn't cost an absolute fortune in electric would also be nice. Because yeah, I do much prefer being able to sort of get that job done, dusted and away, rather than hanging about over a few days. It's one of the reasons I normally love spring. And I say normally just because our spring is extremely wet at the moment, which does not bode well for washing and drying clothes outside. She also says, multi-placing comment. She has to admit, she says the multi-placer would be great for speeding up the completion of a diamond painting. She says, but for herself, it's the process that is the most important part, as it helps with controlling her anxiety, to the point she uses tweezers on square paintings only. Well, go you. She said, otherwise, she said she'd love to have more paintings to put on her walls. You will get there, one diamond painting at a time. Work your way through and get more and more done as you go. And I'm sure you'll get there. Tillaboth says, hi Rebecca and Zesties, hopes we're all well. Said here in South Africa they are in autumn, so the temperatures are not 35 to 40 degrees Celsius. She says she likes it that way. If filming, and she really doesn't mind Luna barking or scratching. I do try and sort of just ignore it, you know, if she's doing little quiet barks, which are normally just a little, I'm not sure what this is. And sometimes she'll leave it at that and I don't mind. But yeah, when it goes full on, it's loud. I do sort of reduce background noise on my videos, so it probably dulls it down a lot for you guys. But yeah, be glad that I do that, because when she gets going, my goodness me, it can be loud. It can be extremely loud once she fully gets into the swing of it and decides that something needs telling off. She says it makes it more homey and part of the household. She says though she doesn't think you'd want us as part of your household. More than happy if it doesn't add extra responsibilities onto me. If you are coming and chatting, more than happy. More than happy, but beware, I never sit still, so I'm often doing stuff all the time as well. She says, greeting from South Africa, and she says, P.S. sorry for the long letter. You don't need to apologise at all. I love all comments, both long and short, and then I can go on to a long or a short waffle after them, which can vary completely from video to video. Julia, she says, thanks for another great WIP and waffle. She says she is currently working on Reading Tree from Diamond Art Club and she is absolutely loving it. Perfect. It's so nice when you are like thoroughly enjoying a painting that you're working on, I think. And there can be different levels of enjoyment. Even though you enjoy another painting, there can be some that just have that extra little bit of sparkle, and it is so nice when you get to work on one of those. She says she has a strip along the left hand side done and she is loving the colours. She says she's got her niece started with some small diamond painting kits from Amazon. She is 6 years old and not ready for a regular picture yet, but she loves it just as much as she does. She said, sorry for the long comment, but she likes waffling as much as anyone else. Don't you worry at all. You are not, you are allowed to waffle. It is a WIP and waffle. So whether that be me waffling or you guys waffling, I'm all for it. This is where I go on a hunt now because I'm filling in a few of the little gaps with the little bit more different symbols rather than some big bulk ones. And this is why I sort of uncovered that little bit there for all these random little pieces that appear. I keep trying to pick sort of what colour to do according to filling in some of these little gaps as we go along. Right, I'm going to go for N, get this little part of the eyebrow done so I don't have to think about that. Mysterious Days, she said she is begging to tuck in for the first section with this long WIP and waffle. She said these are her favourites to watch as they're great companionship. Oh, perfect. She says she's about halfway done with a monochrome rose. It's a budget one. It's a 30 by 40. And while she's not loving it, she says she doesn't hate it and she doesn't want to waste it. I know that feeling. She said it will simply go into her portfolio and stay there when she's done. She said the trays are amazing, she said, and they are so big. She said she so needed that with larger kits. I forget how big our trays can feel. Oh, I've missed a whole bit of blue up there. Anyway, not blue, orange. Yeah, I forget how big our trays can feel after working with kit trays. Because, yeah, especially when I flip to a mega tray, that feels massive to me now. But yeah, it's very weird how sort of a tray, you forget, or at least I forget after using these for so many years now, I forget how big they can feel compared to previous ones. She says there's talk about going somewhere for a short vacation soon in her household. The first since 2021 for even a weekend away. So they're looking forward to getting some paint gems to be able to take, and probably another storage bottle system, as they don't have a great system for paint gem kits. So currently their next test is in language arts on May the 4th. So that's coming up. The way that one is set out, sorry, let me just check for any more of this one. Sneaky one up there. And then I'm going to fill in some that I've missed, because I've seen another one up here as well. I'm going to fill in some little ones, I think, with some pots. So the way that one is set out is there is 2 main reading comprehension tests and then an argumentative essay. But the essay is where they are struggling. They've never been good at writing essays, much less argumentative. And while their practices are scoring around 160 and the pass level is a 145, they don't really want to just pass. The only test they're okay with just passing is maths, because with their track record, they're bad at maths. Both their parents are/were bad at maths, and they failed algebra twice before they dropped out. Algebra is the basis for almost everything and only gets more and more complicated. So there is a reason that they're doing it last. See, I kind of enjoyed algebra, but I think that's because I enjoyed the puzzle. To me, it was a big puzzle. It was the other math stuff that just didn't make sense to me. It was like, well, why are we having to do that? But I do have a little bit of a head for maths if I focus enough. If I can be bothered, I can do math. But yeah, I'm with you on the sort of essay and all that sort of stuff. But, you know, a pass is a pass. So sometimes you just need to recognise that, you know, you've passed it and come a little bit further down the line. You know, whatever score you scored in it, to get that pass is not going to be as relevant. So don't beat yourself up too much about it. Once you've, you know, got that qualification, that is the main thing. She also says, comment 2. She says, when you mentioned not knowing where the origin of Lick and a Promise came from, she got curious and Googled it, which I have been known to do before now, if I've been in that frame of mind on a WIP and Waffle. According to the results, it was first seen in the late 1840s in an English newspaper called The Era in 1848, when housemaids would skim over a bigger task to get to the smaller tasks done first, with the intention of coming back and dedicating their full attention to it. So it makes sense that it's made its way across the world with the deviations in phrasing and word choice, given how in that time in history immigration was popular. And wars and trading caused interactions between nationalities and different types of society to interact like never before. That is a very fair point. And yeah, that is sort of, I suppose when we use a lick and a promise now, it's not so much skimming over a large task to get some smaller tasks done. It's more used nowadays in the fact that, you know, we're just so busy that it is to try and make sure we can get all tasks done on our list, or to be able to actually switch off for a little bit and do nothing. Jerry says they placed their order. Oh look, there's a letter T there as well. Goodness me, I'm at it everywhere. She says she placed her shop order on launch day to come to the US, and it's the fastest that they've ever received it. Yes, we refer to the Weetabix comment. There's definitely been some very, very quick deliveries, and it's nice that it's quick deliveries of launch orders as well. Like, it's nice to have all orders deliver quickly, but launch, I just feel like there's a different level in a launch order compared to, you know, a normal order. She says usually it takes approximately 10 days from the time she's ordered to receiving it, and this one was 7 days. She says you can boast that record. See, I'll boast that record now, and then all of a sudden they'll just slow down. They'll just slow down completely. But yeah, it would be nice if there's sort of a little bit more speed to things. We're just an impatient lot, aren't we? Teresa, she says in America, it's called puttering about rather than pottering about, which I sort of get. I do get both, puttering, pottering. Yeah, I love it. I love a day. I love a day of that. Jen, she says, if you find the drills are staticky after using my pot, so my little jar, she says, just add a bit of a dryer sheet to the pot and give them a shake to get rid of the static. So there you go. I did find on one type of diamond that I did, it wasn't the AB diamond, but there was one type of diamond that I did put in the little pot to break them up. And I did find it caused a little bit more static. Might have been some Paint Gem Mini actually. Excuse me. Because they're resin diamonds, so they do tend to have a little bit more static than maybe others would. So yeah, I do keep meaning. I have quite a few like small pieces, and I'm forever cutting small pieces to put into pots. So I could do with really popping one, or remembering to pop one aside and pop it in that pot so that it is ready to go. Right, let me get this letter T that I missed before. There we go. Right, I'm going to do this letter E. How much have I got? Oh, see, I am just going to end up duplicating some things over there. I could keep going and going and going. But what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to do this E now, because this sort of finishes off her face part here, which means sort of the orangey parts and the face parts in this whole section are all done. But then I am going to concentrate on some of these darker ones in here, rather than this one that then repeats over here. So I'm going to concentrate on this flower, because then maybe when I diamond paint tonight, what I find is I'll actually move a little bit more over this way. And sometimes I do sort of uncover a big section like this and diamond paint a bit like on this WIP and Waffle. So I'll concentrate on the face and the hair, and then, you know, other bits that I know are coming up, I'll then start uncovering a bit more and flip a little bit more between the two. I am going to tuck that one in that I know is there, just for the purpose of straightening things up. But then I'm going to flip to working now on some of these darker colours that do appear in a couple of places, but not a huge amount. I just dropped the lid to that letter E, so let's get that picked up. Okay, let's go for this number 6. I'm likely to miss some of these, but let's see how we do. Lady Dax says she thinks she is finally on the mend. Woohoo! Awesome news. She says, well, at least she's patched up if she's not mended. We'll go with patched up as long as you are feeling better. She says she is back on her original meds and doing much better. Perfect. Tell them not to change them again. She says when she uses putty in the four-placer and it loses tack, she actually pulls it out, rolls it in her fingers and pops it back in. I think that's what Jackie does as well. Now, maybe I have done that a couple of times, but I must admit, whether it's just I've got lazy, I do just take it out and put another one in. It's not so much when it loses tack. Like if it's not as tacky, you know, maybe it's dried out a little bit because I've not multi-placed for quite a while, then I will take it out and put it back in. But I do find if I'm regularly using it, sometimes it gets more stringy than not tacky, and that's when I find I need to ditch it. She says she can get away with doing that about 3-4 times, but she does also like to change it just for a fresh scent. I get that feeling. When you do put some new stuff in, it is amazing how it smells, isn't it, when you first do? You get this little waft. And I'm always drawn to sort of the clean scents. So like I love the zesty lemon, the fresh linen, you know, just the whole smells clean and nice. And yeah, it's always nice to have that smell wafting under your nose. She says she would recommend getting a Diamond Art Club four-placer. She says she only has the one, and she does move it from pen to pen as they do cost a fair bit. She says happy dotting to me and all fellow zesties. Oh, and she says she loves the long WIP and Waffle, even if it's taken her 5 hours to get through it. It's probably how long it took me to get through filming it. Well, maybe even more, because I think the last long WIP and Waffle went over 2 days of me filming it. A bit like today's. I started it yesterday. But, you know, that's the way I can make long WIP and Waffles work, is by doing it over the course of a couple of days. So if it works, I'm going to do it. That's sort of my plan with videos now, is to sort of, you know, in a way just take as long as I need. And I'm going to try and, you know, ones that don't need as much prep or won't take as long, I'm going to try and, you know, get them done sort of pronto, or maybe on weeks when I don't have videos that are quite as long. So that when I do have longer videos, I can just do them. I can just get them done. Lady Dax, she also says she meant to say that she thinks pottering about, excuse me, may have come from old gardeners. Pottering in the potting shed. That is a good shout. That's probably where the pottering rather than puttering has come from. Pottering around in the potting shed. It's amazing where some of these phrases come from, but I'm all for it because I love them. Trish says she's definitely going to have to do this WIP and Waffle in shifts. It's good, gives you a few days, few hours to be able to get in some diamond painting. Kim, she says you worked your tail off to get the launch items out, she says, and it shows. She says she received her goodies of the tray bundle and tweezer set on Friday the 19th. She says, wowza. She says, kudos to you. Royal Mail and Customs here in the US. She said, zoom, zoom. Yeah, it's amazing considering, like, while the launch is a Friday, they don't get posted until the Monday because, of course, it's a late Friday night here in the UK. And we partly do that so that we can ensure that we have that weekend to get things prepped and ready. Because as much as we, you know, pre-plan stock of things, you know, and all the trays are a set amount. Things like cover paper we do need to prep. People will add things to their order like logbook inserts and things like that, which we have, you know, a set amount ready. And through the week with just a few orders, you know, whenever a logbook insert, for example, runs out, we'll print another batch of them and it will keep going. On launch, due to the volume of orders and often the amount of, well, mainly due to the volume of orders, there will of course be more people adding in things like logbook inserts and stuff. So we take the weekend to make sure that we have enough for all the launch orders and of course that bit more for carrying on with. So yeah, like orders didn't go out till Monday and some of them are turning up on Friday. I do often on launch, I do sort of go in order number, but also a little bit not. So they do get sorted into postage types. So we have international tracked, international standard, and then UK. And I do concentrate on sort of, I start with international tracked, fill up international tracked or international standard. I pick one or the other. And I keep going until a mailbag's full. And then I move over to the other international and keep going till the mailbag's full. Then I move over to the UK one and keep going till the mailbag's full. So they're sort of done in order of postage type. And then I'll rinse and repeat until the time. But I did get most orders out on the first Monday. I did actually have the best sort of orders day. For compiling for the amount of orders I got out on the first day, and then sometimes there's a few that go out the next day. Quite often they're orders that have been ordered on the Sunday or the Monday, or they have some sort of special request with them, or something we've emailed the customer for and need something checking. It's that sort of thing that can sometimes delay. But yes, I was very impressed with USPS and Royal Mail. I don't know which side had a rocket up them, but between them, they did amazing this launch. And as I say, I'm happy it had happened on launch, because I always think that's a little bit more exciting order to get. Christine, she says, hi Rebecca and Zesties. She says she has no idea how many kits she has, but numbering them, she said, sounds like a good idea. She says, thanks for the thought from your poster. Yeah, it is kind of nice thinking of numbering them as well, in the fact that you'll get to know what number's picked, and then you need to go and look at what painting that number is. I kind of like the suspense in that one. She says she bought a few kits from a D-stash a couple of years ago, and also bought a few subscriptions from a diamond painting company in Australia. She says there were a few kits she wasn't interested in doing. So on Friday, she took them with her to her psychologist appointments, and she was very pleased with them. And she was going to pass them on to social workers who help cancer patients. What an awesome idea. That's a really good idea. She says she hopes they will help someone and maybe start a new trend in oncology. Maybe trend starter over there, Christine. But no, I like that idea because it's the sort of perfect type of craft, isn't it? For, you know, cancer patients, those suffering with depression. There's so many people that it's suitable for. So to be able to pass on some of those kits to sort of go to people that will really help them is just, yeah, awesome idea. And well done on, you know, them accepting them and helping pass them on as well, because sometimes as much as it'd help, they just, you know, they don't want that extra task. So it's good that they've helped too. Kim, she says she hasn't found that my pauses or Luna has been distracting in any way. Oh, thank you. I'm trying to get to grips with it and making the pauses and stuff a little bit easier. She says it's like when she was still working and a co-worker and themselves would try to have a conversation, and then they'd have to answer the phone or help a library patron, and then they would go back to their conversation without too much difficulty. Yeah, let's treat it like that. I like it. But yeah, hopefully, you know, things will get easier for me. I know, you know, filming now doesn't feel weird anymore. Filming initially feels quite weird, like you know, you're being a bit different, a bit special when I'm first filming and talking to myself. But that's definitely got easier, so I'm pretty sure that the rest will get easier too as it goes along. She says, to clarify, she said something in regard to Lego. She said, no, Lego can normally be taken apart and rebuilt. She says, is that right? Yes. She says, is there a reason why many of you don't do that? Yes, I know many people do take it apart, like they sort of backwards build it. So they take it apart in the order that they've put it together and then bag it up in that way. But I like displaying what I've done. I feel like I've sort of ruined all my hard work if I then take it apart. So as much as I do it for the build, I do it to have the completed item as well, and would definitely feel like I just wouldn't feel right sort of building them to then unbuild them, because then I feel like they wouldn't have, I suppose they wouldn't have their value if they weren't being a decorative piece and they were just back in the cupboard. She says, in her mind, it's like assembling a jigsaw puzzle, that you put it together and then put it back in the box and put it together in another year or two. She says she's never built a Lego creation, and she doesn't have the love for them like other zesties. And she means no disrespect. I never even thought that it was any sort of disrespect. It's a valid question. And there are people that do it. But while I do jigsaw puzzles as well, I never redo them. Maybe that's just me. I love the Wasgidge puzzles, which is the word jigsaw spelt backwards, that you don't get the image on the front of the box. You sort of have to figure it out, which is why I love them. But then I will sell them on or pass them on. I won't do them again because I feel like I've already seen the result. I've already, you know, got that mystery side of things. So redoing them, I just don't do it. I'm just not one of those people that does. I just put in those 2 X's and I've just spotted a number 6, which of course is going to happen. So yeah, some people do, but I don't. I feel then like, I don't know, it just would be more of a waste of money if I wasn't seeing it. But I'm weird like that. I feel like I'm getting very, very close now to ending up being in with all this bluey colour. I can't believe how much we've actually got done on this painting. But anyway, let's keep going through some of these colours in here. And if I'm trying to do the colours that don't hit into a load of the blue. But I think I'm getting very close to the point that it's going to anyway, so we'll just go with it. Jerry, she says she's decided that she is not giving up any of her trays, as there's one sister that wanted a trash tray, was from month before last launch. She said so instead she's bought them each a zesty tray and a trash tray of their own. in their favourite colours, she says, along with scorpion cover papers, and she also got them daisy cover papers, as their grandmother's name was Daisy, and she was a wonderful woman, she said. Oh. She says then she realised, she said that she forgot to get the AB stickers after she received her package, so she placed another order to get them, along with some putty and tweezers that she wanted anyway. She says after using her new single placer and multi placer, she had to place an Amazon order for the 4 and the 6 placer. You've had a spending week, haven't you, Jerry? Well, wasn't it Jerry that has got to a year of diamond painting? It was a yesterday comment, so my brain has probably maybe muddled things up. But if need be, think of it as an anniversary gift, if it is true. Inga, she says, hi Rebecca. She says, you and other YouTubers, she said, always apologise for their dogs and cats interrupting. She says she's sure that most of us don't mind the occasional hello from Luna. She said it makes me smile every time. Well, you got a few smiles out of this video. Last Thursday's video, she was fantastic. She just slept the whole afternoon. She says her cat sure likes to photobomb her Zoom calls all the time. See, I don't know what it is. I think if it was somebody else's pet, like you say, if I was watching a video and somebody else's pet was interrupting, it wouldn't bother me anywhere near as much as it does when mine does. So I am trying to apologise less for Luna when she does interrupt, but yeah, I'm trying to apologise less because I know you guys, you know, are so accommodating with, you know, anything from the type of video that I put up to Luna barking in the background, and I do really appreciate that, so I'm trying to do it less. Cross Stitch and Tat says she is watching late tonight as the temperature here in Phoenix has been in the high 90 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 36 to 37 degrees Celsius. Woo! Warm. That's what we class as warm over here. She says the heat is hitting early this year, and the AC has definitely come on early as well. She says last week it was 60 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 15 degrees Celsius, and it feels like weather skied spring and jumped straight into summer overnight. She says, hope your spring comes soon. To be honest, at this point, I'll take our summer. If you know, spring doesn't want to say hello, I'll take summer. As much as I'd love spring to appear, the highest we have had, I think, is 15 degrees Celsius. So what's that? 60 degrees Fahrenheit. That's the highest we've had. And while I'm not necessarily saying I want it to go to 30 plus degrees, I just would be happy to have, you know, a few more nice days. You know, where door open, breeze blows through. Yeah, I just think we're ready for it. You know, us Brits, we're always ready for nicer weather. It feels like, you know, we have such rubbish weather for what feels like so long, that, you know, we deserve spring to arrive at springtime, quite frankly. I think we deserve it. Nova Scotian Hiker, she says, speaking of opening new kits, she said she's expecting 2 Diamond Art Club kits today. It is Inside the Fairy's Dream and Christmas Eve at the Workshop. She says she will be opening them straight away. I love it when people know what they're doing with things like that. I will be doing it. She says she'll resist the temptation to start them. Inside a Fairy's Dream, she says, will probably be the next large one that she does. But she currently has 2 large WIPs. It looks like July for that. Both of her WIPs are just over halfway done. Cosmic Trip, which is currently set aside for Aquarius by Dakota Dwyler for an event. And she's hoping to finish both by the end of May, but she may only finish one. She's looking forward to June WIP and Waffle. Yes, I'm really looking forward to June WIP and Waffle. It's going to be so much fun. It always is fun, but it's definitely going to be so much fun this year, especially now I can film in the day at times. I think it's going to make it a lot nicer for me to do June Waffle in the day. Liv's Dotting Den. She says she agrees with Busy Lizzie. She prefers assignments rather than exams. She said she did some BTEC and cash courses at college, which she enjoyed. She's also completed some business admin courses too. She says she'd love to go to uni, but she really needs the job dosh, which is the money from her job, seeing as she has a house now too. She says she may look at going to sort of open uni at some time, which is a bit more like an online uni courses that you can do rather than actually going to university. Right, that one I started in the pot. It was probably wise for me to stay just in the pot, but there wasn't a huge amount of those, though I've probably missed some. So we'll see how that goes. She also says she usually gets more than one canvas when she orders, and she normally uses some of the discount codes and ensures that she gets free shipping as well. She says, in relation to Oraloa, she says if you go to the bottom of the site, you can change where the option is to change the currency. You can change it to UK, because she too isn't fluent in French, and neither am I. I didn't take French in school. I was forced to take German, unfortunately. Katie, she says, hi Rebecca. She says, Katie here. She says, long comment alert. And it is a long comment from Katie. She says, so on the 11th of March, she was at work running about with children because, why not? She says she's a teaching assistant. So, yeah. Teaching assistants definitely have moments when they get to be big kids. And all of a sudden she lost her footing, and her left foot fell inwards when it landed down. That must be a teaching assistant teacher kind of thing, because my daughter did sprain her ankle and has trouble with it from while at school. It's a dangerous place. More dangerous for adults at school than it is for the kids, I think. She heard a pop when it happened, and she went to the hospital. A second local one, as the most local had massive queues. They put her in a weight-bearing boot and crutches, and said that she'd be okay in a couple of days. But might have to be referred to the fracture clinic for an appointment. She did end up having to go into the fracture clinic. Hang on, I need a few more than that for this symbol. And they did a CT scan, which she's never had done before. She said being autistic, it did make her feel super anxious. She says, and this is where she discovered that she has got Lin's fracture. Basically, it connects all the toe bones to the main part of her foot. Rather important then, I would say. So she was in a cast for a week, non-weight bearing. And then if it hadn't healed, she'd have to have surgery. So she went back in a week's time for another x-ray, and the outcome was that she did need surgery. She had that on the Thursday before Easter. They were meant to be going on holiday, however, she ended up in hospital. And they basically put a plate in her foot with a few screws. Ooh. She says, fast forward to the present day, she's now in another cast, which is non-weight bearing. So she's been off work since the 11th of March. She said diamond painting and Lego has kept her going. I can imagine, after working with kids, to not being able to put weight on your foot is a complete different sort of 180. She says she's purchased 2 Diamond Art Club kits, Modern Stone Age and Sesame Street Friends, and then she's bought National Parks and the bottle storage from Paint Gem. Then when Paint Gem did a restock, they do constantly seem to need to keep restocking Paint Gem. Though, to be fair, considering how long it can normally take to restock, they must be at least ordering stuff before it fully sells out, because I do feel like their restocks are fairly quick compared to how long restocks can take. Because the shipment times are, even the production times and the shipment times from order are not quick. And I can say that from experience. They are not the quickest. So I feel like they must be sort of getting their restock orders in before they sell out. She says, but when they did the restock, she ordered Bakery, Summer and Mystery Edition. She said, oops. Well, you need something to keep you busy. She says the addiction is real. So true. I jumped on that beauty edition as soon as it was ready and got that ordered. She says, thank you for your videos and content while she is off and continues to be off work. She says she's got many more days of dotting. She hopes me and the family are well, and she's loving the extra long WIP and Waffle. Yes, we are good. Thank you. And I hope you're enjoying your time resting up, because I am sure that once you are back on your feet, life will feel extremely busy again, especially in school. Kaz says hi. She says it's me again. She says potter about as well. So pottering about is something she also uses. Doro says, loving the long WIP and waffles. She says, thank you for all the effort you go to make us zesties happy and keep us company while diamond painting. You are more than welcome. More than welcome. I'm thoroughly enjoying doing these WIP and waffles, and also getting a little bit of extra diamond painting in. While my Advent prep has calmed down. That's the thing that's made this possible. I'm no longer panicking. I knew I'd end up getting it ready a lot sooner than I needed to, but it definitely didn't stop me panicking about getting it all ready on time. Mysterious Days, she says, to all of those schooling, she said, especially those people that prefer essays, she says she is more than open to tips on to how to do an essay. She says the biggest part of her nerves for the reading test is the argumentative essay that I mentioned earlier. She said as writing them has always been her weakness. She says, if anything, she says it's easier to go, no, Janet, do not second guess yourself. If it's wrong, it's wrong. Keep moving. She says second guessing usually makes her wrong. So she's sort of trained her brain to stop changing the answer and move on. She says, but with an essay, it's an endless possibility with minimal guidance. And that's harder, she says, on her mentally. She's creative, preferring fiction over reality. So having to follow a set of rules and sticking on topic is really hard. So if anybody has any tips on that, then do let Janet know. She says all of those that do Lego, she says she's blaming us and partly her best friend. That's fine. We're very good at taking the blame around here. More than happy to take the blame for many things. Unless it's illegal. Then I don't want to know. She says for putting a Winnie the Pooh treehouse on her wish list to get one day. She says she hasn't hugely wanted it before. But now she really does. She says especially as she loves Winnie the Pooh. Her mum made it her nursery theme when she was a baby. And the obsession has begun then. She said, sticking with me into adulthood. I think that is the same for many. That's for sure. She says she's even saved her comforter, a 3-foot tall Pooh Bear and a diaper bag, she says, to use. Speaking of reading old favourite books, she says she's been in a reading slump for the last 2.5 years, and she thinks she has finally broke it. She said on an impulse purchase, she bought Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarrow and read the entire book in a week. She says one session, which was 200 pages alone. She fully regretted not buying the second book because that ending still has her thinking about it, she said. And somebody who lives with her is worried because she reacted so strongly to sort of the ending. She says then that same day she grabbed a copy of City with Ashes by Cassandra Clare, the second book in the Mortal Instruments series. She read the entire 450-page book in one day. She says almost immediately after reading 200 pages. Sounds like you're a binge reader like I am. If I get hold of a book, it takes so much for me to put it down. I can do it with Audible because it tells me how long there is left, and therefore I can go, no, okay, I don't have enough time, and stop. But when I'm reading myself, I always think I can squeeze it into less time than I have. She says she's then moved on to book 3, which is City of Glass, and forced herself to close the book at 2 a.m. And she's got another 100. Oh, she did another 100 pages so that she could get some sleep. Yeah, see, that's where I struggle, is forcing myself to stop. Because, yeah, say if I've got a book in my hand, I always think I can read it in less time than it actually takes. It's like I always think I can diamond paint in less time than it actually takes. I started a bath run in last night, and our bath run's really slow. Just because our boiler's older, so it doesn't have the same sort of pressure. And we've got the wrong taps for our boiler, and we are looking at changing them. But at the moment, it's just standard. A bath takes about 20 minutes, just the hot water on. And it gives me a chance to sort of start my bath and then do whatever it is I want to do before I go for my bath. It's just a way of thinking that I've got used to. But there was me thinking I would be able to pretty much finish a paint gem mini while waiting for my bath to run. And for some reason I should know they take me at least 45 minutes to an hour, and that I was never going to get it done in what turned out to be 15 minutes because I also did a few bits like putting the dishwasher on and stuff before I went. So yeah, I'm constantly doing that, constantly. Dana, she says hello. She says she hopes all is well. She said, here is an idea. She said, and hopefully a good one. She said to place a notepad next to you, and when you have to get up, she says, write a small note to yourself. She says, on the last thing you said or the idea of the conversation, she said to try and remember what you were saying. She said, in case you might have more intriguing things than you were prepared for. Yeah, that is an idea. I mean, to be fair, a lot of the time, I'm not very often stopped mid-sentence, or at least I'll finish the sentence before I fully stop and step away. But that probably is a good idea to have some form of paper about, especially if I have sort of been stopped mid-flow. To help with these WIP and waffles, but we'll keep trying different things until we get this down pat. But yeah, I have actually got to the end of the comments as of today when I'm filming, so I am going to leave it there. I do feel like we don't have a huge amount left, but I also know that these sort of blue colours here will take a lot longer than I think. And I will start doing some of these and probably peel off some of this evening when I get to sit down and diamond paint. But I'm impressed with the amount of her face that we've managed to get done for this one. We'll see how long this WIP and waffle is when I put all the bits on the computer. It's also just started absolutely throwing it down. And it is also time for me to go out and get the post ready. So I'm going to go and do that and get wet. You guys have an amazing rest of your Sunday or whatever day you are watching this on. Thank you all so much for your support, for being here for the WIP and waffles and my newish way of working. But I hope you've managed to get either some things done or some diamond painting done, whatever it was you were doing while watching. And I will speak to you all again soon.